Hello and welcome to Snetterton for round 2 of the Speed Group Formula 1000 Championship for 2018 and what's set to be a trio of thrilling races. Brands Hatch last time saw a triple race victory for Michael Watton, something that is very rarely achieved in this championship, but he'll have some stiff competition this weekend. Returning champ Robert Sayell back at his home track for a cameo appearance, and he will be a thorn in the reigning champion's side.
Thanks, Andy. It's going to be a cracking race. We're starting with the man on pole position, Michael Watton, who cleaned up at Brands Hatch a few weeks ago, if you remember. So we're going to see if we can have a quick word with Michael on the grid. Michael, such a great start to the season. It just looks like the ball is keeping rolling.
Yeah, we had a bit of a messy qualifying this morning, but we've started the year fantastic. We're in the right place for today, so just looking forward to another good race.
Looks like it might not be as easy because you've got quite a challenge from behind this time.
Yeah, and it's obviously quite easy to overtake here, long straight, so yeah, I expect it's going to be a close race to the end.
Good luck, Michael. Have a great race.
Yeah, thank you.
So with Michael on pole position, the man just alongside is going to be Paul Butcher, but we've got a returnee in third position on the grid, of course. That is Robert Sayell. He is bound to be fast from the get-go. And then behind them, the 4th, 5th and 6th position battle is set to be amazing because we've got Adam Walker, Alok Iyengar and our old friend Dan Clues. It's going to be so close. Andy, all yours, mate.
Thank you, Jake. Cars lining up on the grid. Here is how they line up for this one. Watton and Butcher row 1. Robert Sayell makes a return straight onto the second row of the grid alongside Adam Walker. Then it's Alok Iyengar and Dan Clues. He's one to watch for, a bit out of position on the grid, ahead of Dax Ward and Elliot Mitchell. Peter Legge is next, ahead of Robert Bailey. Andrew Wheels makes his first appearance of the season, and so too does Daniel Levi, who had to qualify behind the safety car after missing qualifying this morning. So, reigning champ Michael Watton on the front row of the grid alongside Paul Butcher. The red lights go on. We're about to go racing for the first time here at Snetterton in the Speed Group F1000 Championship. It's not a great start from Watton. He will lose 2 positions by the looks of it on the run down towards turn number 1. We always say that Watton is not the best starter. It's Butcher who gets the lead. Sayell is second, third for Watton, and fourth I think is going to be Dan Clues. So he's already making good ground from 6th on the grid as they make their way out of Riches down towards the Wilson hairpin for the first time. They all arrive together and Watton's back into second place, so he's already got himself ahead of Robert Sayell. On board with Dax Ward now in the midfield's pack here. Dax makes his way down towards the left-hander at Palmer's. Didn't have a great start to proceedings at Brands Hatch last time out with a non-finish, but they got a 7th and a 5th place finish over the rest of the weekend, as here comes the battle for the race lead. Up the inside for the race lead is going Michael Watton, and that was a really well executed move in towards the braking zone at Agostini, and he moves ahead of Paul Butcher. Robert Sayell is now trying to get up the inside and pull down towards the next left-hand kink at Hamilton's. It's a quick corner though, and you don't really want to be running side by side through there if you can help it. And indeed, Robert backs out of the manoeuvre. Butcher in second then will be trying to stay in the slipstream of the race leader Michael Watton, but that little moment at Oggies won't have helped. They now turn right in towards Williams onto the back straight, and you can see already the race leader escaping. This could be all about the fight for second then between Butcher, Sayell, Clues, and also joining in the fun there, Adam Walker, who was a sensational runner last time out at Brands Hatch, 5th place in race 1, but then 2 second place finishes in races 2 and 3, and arguably lost out on a race victory in race 2 when he was leading Watton midway through the race, only to fall over a back markers out at Graham Hill Bend and lose the race lead. He'll be determined to try and prove that he's got that race-winning pace again here at Snetterton. Back out through the bomb hole and core and we go for the first time of asking in this 15-minute race. In 15 minutes we anticipate we'll get about 8 or 9 laps in. So plenty of time for things to change, and as Michael Watton was saying on the grid, the long straights, the wide open spaces, they provide ample opportunities for overtaking, certainly more overtaking opportunities here than we had at Brands Hatch last time out. The lead gap though is already approaching 2 seconds for Michael Watton. Butcher second, Sayell third, Clues is 4th, Walker 5th, Alok Iyengar is 6th. The rest of the field you can see fairly evenly bunched together, but Michael Watton has already made his escape on board with Clues here in 4th position, chasing down Robert Sayell, who did not drive the car. He did no testing before this weekend, hasn't driven the car since October last year. He was 3rd place in the championship last season, as we mentioned earlier on, the 2016 champion, which means we've got 2 champions, the last 2 champions on the grid together, and everyone is interested to see who is going to come out on top. It's true that Watton has more seat time. He, of course, was at Brands Hatch last time out, won all 3 races. Sayell hasn't driven the car since last year, but this is Robert's local track, so if ever there was a racetrack where he could come back and immediately be on the pace, it would be Snetterton. And this full 300 layout, the 3-mile layout, the longest layout here at Snetterton, seems to be suiting him fairly well because he qualified on the second row of the grid. He's running where he started now in third, but he looks, for my money, at least as quick as Paul Butcher, arguably a little bit quicker. He's going to be close enough now to get a slipstream down the back straight, and he might be able to attack on the brakes down towards Brundle and Nelson. We'll wait and see. Actually, Butcher had a pretty good exit there from Williams, so he's been able to see off the challenge for the time being. Down through the left hand of the go. Butcher, Sayel and Clues dicing away over the lower podium positions. It is going to be the yellow and purple car that's hanging on for the time being. Butcher, it was a weekend that promised much really at Brands Hatch last time out for Paul. He was second in race 1 after a race-long dice with Dan Clues. Then race number 2, he had another dice with Dan Clues and beat him to 3rd place. But then race 3 had mechanical dramas and wasn't able to take the finish. So it was a shame that for Paul, because otherwise it would have been a pretty solid start to the season for him. But things just haven't quite gone to plan. Back with Clues now then as he closes on Robert Sale. You can see the slipstream effect there, and he goes to the inside into Riches. That's a lovely move made by Dan Clues, and Dan moves his way through into 3rd place. He's a bit slow on the exit though as a result of going in on a tight line, and so Sale tries to fight back on the brakes in towards Wilson. He's not close enough to slip up the inside though, so Dan Clues takes 3rd place, and now he will look set to resume his battle for Brands Hatch with Paul Butcher. A battle that lasted pretty much from the start of the weekend right until Paul Butcher ran into very late mechanical dramas. He only retired on the penultimate lap of race 3 at Brands Hatch. Sale though tried to come back here at Clues on the inside into Agostini. He was looking for quite a while there, and I thought he might have just committed as they turned into the corner itself, but no, he backed out of it, sideways on the exit there, using up all of the grip that those rear tyres have to offer. But Robert is down to 4th. Should, though, you'd imagine, have the pace to stay with Clues. He wasn't exactly slow in the early part of the race. It's just a case of Clues getting that run down the pit straight and being able to attack him. Back out onto the back straight they go. There is Rob Sale, single-seater oval racing champion before he turned his attention to circuit racing. Raced in South Africa, running his own car and doing his own setup in the championship. One of the great things about F1000 racing is that you don't need a big budget to be up there at the front of the grid. As long as you know the basics of engineering a racing car, and of course you know how to pedal it, you can run one of these things yourself and still be very competitive, and Rob Sale has proven that down the years. Back through Corey goes. He's now got Adam Walker right behind him. Adam really keen to try and build on the momentum that he sort of started to find last time out at Brands Hatch. And the man who's been racing since 2006, but only now he's really starting to find his feet and find his way right to the front of the field. Down into Riches they go again. He's using this slipstream to try and keep up with the group in front. That is why we're seeing, I think, closer racing than we saw last time out at Brands Hatch, just because of the long straights and the slipstream effect that they provide are giving the drivers opportunities to stay with each other rather than seeing the field get strung out. View here with the live telemetry from Adam Walker's car, which is always fascinating to see the speeds being reached, particularly on a circuit like this where they can really stretch the legs of these 185 brake horsepower machines. All, of course, Suzuki or Yamaha motorbike engined cars that weigh only about 335 kilos before you put the driver in, that is, and that is why they are such nippy machines. The lightweight nature of the cars is what was benefiting them back at Brands Hatch, a tight technical circuit. This circuit, though, although it has that technical infield section, it is really all about straight line speed, and that's where they can really open the taps and see what these things have got. Looks like Dan Clues is closing in here on Paul Butcher and might be about to take 2nd place away. Look again at that slipstream down the back straight. Butcher doesn't even bother defending the inside line. He's going to let Clues have the inside for the left-hander because the next corner's a right-hander. And Butcher knew that even if he did have to sit on the outside through Brundle, he'd have the inside line for Nelson. I think Clues realised that as well and didn't want to commit to a move that was only going to see him hung out to dry on the exit of the complex and potentially losing positions. And so Clues settles for 3rd at the moment, but he does look quick here. Certainly a lot quicker than his 6th place qualifying position would lead you to believe. So there's definitely been some improvement in pace since qualifying this morning. Just went deep on brakes into Murray's, and that will compromise his exit speed, and we've seen Clues do this before, haven't we? This is how he got past Sale, gets in the slipstream, but Paul Butcher will not give him the inside line this time. He pulls over to the inside to defend. Clues therefore is presented with the tricky outside line, but he makes it look easy. Sweeps across the nose of Paul Butcher and takes over 2nd place. I doubt that he's going to have the pace to close in on Michael Watton because Michael's long gone up the road, but can he pull away from Butcher? That now becomes the question. All running right. Oh, Paul Butcher! Trouble for Paul Butcher. What's happened? The car all of a sudden did not accelerate out of the Wilson hairpin, and he pulls off to the side of the road. And that is an absolute disaster for the man who really was looking to try and challenge for the title this year. But unfortunately, Paul Butcher's weekend here in Snetterton has not begun in ideal fashion. Runner-up in the championship the last 2 years, and it's retirements like that that really set you back in the championship race. Of course, the grid positions for races 2 and 3 are based upon the previous race results from the weekend. So if you have a retirement in race 1, it has a knock-on effect for your grid position in race 2 because you have to start from the back, and then that leaves you with the potential to get caught up in dramas in race 2, which will affect your grid position for race 3. So Paul Butcher's weekend now is looking rather more of an uphill slog than it did before. So Clues now a little bit more comfortable in second, although having said that, Rob Sayel has been able to bridge the gap fairly quickly, hasn't he, to get onto the tail of the green machine. So Dan Clues still has his hands full here, and now it is the 2016 champion who is reeling him in, racing in Formula Jedi as it previously was known, F1000 nowadays. Since 2009 has Rob Sayel. He was the club class champion in 2009 and 10. Outright champion back in 2016, only won 4 races, which actually is not that many over the course of a season, but it was all about consistency. He had 9 podium positions that year, did Rob Sayel, and that is what took him to the championship. It's not always about winning all of the races, and that's why, although Michael Watton obviously has got off to the perfect start to the season with that triple race victory at Brands Hatch, all it takes is a bad weekend, and all of a sudden the more consistent drivers start to really reel you in the points. On board with Walker, they passed the stricken car of Paul Butcher there on the exit of the Wilson hairpin. Of course, Walker's now inherited 4th and sniffing an opportunity maybe for a podium. We'll be watching with interest the battle in front of him between Clues and Sayel. If they open the door perhaps for him to join in and get past them as well, he will go for it. Speaking of going for it, I thought that's what Sayel was going to do there down at Agostini. Again, he looks pretty confident on the brakes and gets a good exit despite the sideways antics. And so Clues is having to weave this way and that, trying to second guess which way Sayel's going to go. Now, if Rob can get a good exit from the next 2 right-handers, this tight one at Oggies, and then the next one, the sweeping right-hander at Williams, he will be close enough, you'd think, to attack down the back straight. But we saw he wasn't quite as strong at this part of the circuit a few laps ago when he was chasing Paul Butcher. What is the gap between them as they go down the back straight this time around? Adam Walker and then the blue car of Alec Iyengar still in touch. But Clues is really starting to feel the pressure from Sayel, who again looks to the inside, takes that early apex into Brundle, just to try and distract the car in front more than anything else. He'll be hoping that that flash of movement in the mirrors of Dan Clues' car will maybe force Dan into making a mistake. Just that momentary distraction could be enough for him to miss his braking point, snatch a brake, miss an apex, and maybe open the door for a possible overtake. It didn't work though. Dan himself, of course, is a very experienced driver, and he's been racing in karting, first of all, since 2004 has Dan Clues, before moving into car racing with the F1000 Championship several years later. Back down into the right-hander at Rich as they go. 2006 is when Dan Clues actually made his debut in F1000s. Best championship position of 4th, where he's finished 4 times. And he'll be determined to try and get that first title victory this year. On board with the man himself. Dan turns his way down in towards the left-hander at Palmer's, named after circuit owner Jonathan Palmer, former British touring car and of course Formula 1 race driver. And I think we can all agree that Snetterton is looking even more immaculate than ever, and that was an immaculate manoeuvre made by Rob Sayel, and he's through into second place. He's sort of been signalling his intent to make that move for the last few laps, because every lap he looks to the inside, just sort of scouting, seeing how good Clues was on the brakes. Clearly he decided that he was better and that he could make the move stick. They both skate a bit wide into Oggies though, so Dan Clues really pushing on to try and close in on Sayel to retake the position. Of course Sayel trying now to make his break, knowing that he's going to be a sitting duck in the slipstream down the back straight. I think he's had a good enough exit from Williams though that he shouldn't be under too much pressure down at the end of the straight. Clues is closing though, you can see that in the slipstream. Sayel doesn't feel the need to defend though, and quite rightly so, because Clues wasn't close enough to really attack. And so, and with a brilliant move there by Rob Sayel, he's now into second place, would you believe, on his return to the championship. Hugely impressive stuff. This class will always tell, of course, and that is why he's a former champion. So back towards the end of the lap he goes again. And already, dare I say, starting to make a bit of a break, running right over the curve there. You can see he's pushing because he knows that now he's made that move, he needs to make it stick and he needs to try and get away from Clues before Dan can retaliate. Behind, Adam Walker has some defending to do as well because Alok Iyengar is right with him now, and Alok looks to the inside there in towards Riches. No, Walker had the momentum there with the outside line, chops across his nose and keeps hold of that position. On board now with Andrew Wheels as he makes his way down in towards the left-hander. Andrew missed the first round of the championship because he had an engine delay, basically. It wasn't quite ready for the first round. Whoops! And that was a delayed turn into Oggies. He's off on the grass and a lazy spin. He'll have to rejoin now. He was running towards the back anyway. New team running him this year, full force race support, and he's being coached by the 2013 champ, Lee Morgan. And Lee has been really pushing him to push harder and find his limit. Well, I think he's exceeded it there, and now can't get the car fired up again. Like Michael Watton actually putting a lap on him, and then Rob Sayel in second place, the next one to come through past that part of the circuit where you can see there are yellow flags waving to warn the drivers there's a car at the side of the road. That car is the number 67 of Andrew Wheels, who appears to be going no further. It's often the case with these cars that when you spin, it's very easy to stall them. It's not so easy to fire them back up again. So that is why he's found himself stranded at the side of the road. So Michael Watton then turns his way back through Brundle and Nelson once again. And he is now inching towards win number 4 from 4. And well, could he do it again and take all 3 race victories this weekend? He certainly seems to have the pace, but I must say that I think the shenanigans behind him on the opening lap really helped. The fact that Paul Butcher had a couple of moments and backed the rest of the field up, that really helped Watton to escape. I think if they could stay with him, and bear in mind that race 2 features a partially reversed grid as well, then I don't think he's going to have it quite so easy. Last lap begins for our race leader. The leading margin is up there around the 6 or 7 second mark over Sale in second. Clues is now somewhat distant third, and it already now has become about the fight for fourth between Adam Walker and Alok Iyengar. On board with Clues though, as he turns his way back through Riches. Dirt on our camera lens there, that won't be worrying him too much. He turns into the Wilson hairpin, named after the late IndyCar and former Formula 1 racer Justin Wilson. And then in towards the left-hander at Palmer's, then down to Agostini. And there goes Michael Watton. You can see there the lead that he's got. But Sale, I'm going to be interested to see how Rob Sale gets on this weekend, because if he can finish second in his first race since October in the car, that is very impressive. Oh dear. Well, Alok Iyengar, we sensed that he was pushing on there to try and get himself ahead of Adam Walker, and he just pushed a bit too hard there. I think he locked up the rear brakes turning into Agostini. Thankfully, he doesn't have the same problem that Andrew Wheels had when he spun a lap or so ago. He's able to keep the car running and continue on his way, and such was his lead over Dax Ward, who I believe it is, who was running 6th. He won't lose a position. So now that frees Adam Walker up to actually spend the final half a lap or so trying to find a way onto the podium. It would be at the expense of Dan Clues if he could do it. I'm not sure he's close enough, but he's certainly going to give it a go. And now that he's not under any pressure, that may well give him the opportunity to do so. Michael Watton, as he did in the races at Brands Hatch, backing off here on the final lap, running nowhere near the edge of the track, not sliding the car, not overworking the engine or the tyres, just stroking it home now to another perfectly executed race victory. Well, it was a perfect start to the weekend, to the season, sorry, last time out at Brands Hatch. 3 race victories, 3 fastest laps from pole position, and he started off in the same fashion here at Snetterton. A race victory in round number 4 of the Speed Group F1000 Championship goes the way of Michael Watton. Second goes to Rob Sayel, and third will just be Dan Clues, ahead of Adam Walker in 4th. Well, confirmation of the result then. Watton from Sayel, from Close and Walker. Then Iyengar 5th, despite the last lap spin, ahead of Dax Ward, Elliot Mitchell, Robert Bailey, and Andrew Wheels was classified a lap down despite that late spin. Daniel Levi wins the Sonic Invitation Cup. He's the only entrant this weekend. Got the car to the finish and wins the class. Michael Watton therefore extends his championship lead over Adam Walker, who is now 2nd, Clues is 3rd, Iyengar 4th, and Elliot Mitchell is up there in 5th place. David Wheel leads the Invitation Cup, but he's not here this weekend, so that's a chance for Levi to possibly draw level with him on points.
Well, Michael, not to put too fine a point on it, this is starting to look like a bit of a goose step to a 2nd title in a row, isn't it?
Well, we've definitely started excellently this year. I mean, 4 out of 4. The car's been prepped perfect all year. This was a tricky one to start with, didn't make a very good start. So I was surprised Paul probably let me past a bit easier than I thought he might. But yeah, I've just got to say, fantastic car prep, and that makes the job a lot easier.
And of course that means that you've got a lot of data to move on with into tomorrow. Do you think that there's going to be 2 more wins in the bag?
Hopefully. I know there's I think it's the Henry Rillet Memorial Salver tomorrow. I've finished second for that twice, so I really want to win that one tomorrow, but probably more even than this one.
Well, hopefully it's just going to keep on going from here. Well done, Michael.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Well, Rob, comeback kid and straight into second position. Not bad.
Well, not bad considering Mike's pace at the moment. Second, I think, is probably the best I could, have hoped for. So yeah, the start wasn't the best. I was hoping to get in the lead off the start, to be honest, through the middle of them, but that didn't go to plan. Then Dan passed me, dropped me to 4th. I'd have a little word with myself, so come on, we're in a race here. Paul then had a few issues and pulled off. And then I chased Dan down and passed him at Agostini. So yeah, second, not bad. Yeah, Carl's still up sail though.
I was just going to say, is it satisfied the bug, or are you potentially coming back?
No, the Carl's still sail. So yeah, no, I've set my mind on it. I've just thought I'd play today because we're an hour up the road, so it's our local circuit. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully someone out there is going to take it off your hands and maybe produce a win for it. Well, well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, Dan, 3rd position. From the start on the 3rd row, it looked like it might have been quite tough to get there, but off the start, it just went like lightning.
Yeah, got a good start. We broke a clutch cable in qualifying, so we were a little bit further back than maybe we hopefully could have been. So it was also the feel of it was a little bit different, but we managed to hook it up and get it away. Jumped the first 2 guys, or the 2 guys on the next row, and it's like, okay, yeah, game on. We'll see where we get to.
And it looked as though at one stage there could even have been a fight to get after the guys in first and second at one point. So there's definitely more pace to find.
Yeah, definitely. I made a good move on Rob into Riches, and the same into Riches on Paul, around the inside on one, around the outside on all, which is a big ballsy corner really. So I was quite pleased with those, to be honest. But yeah, and then after that it was okay. But Rob was still on my tail, and I could see Adam behind him as well. And, the guys are very, very quick, and just lost a little pace at the end, and Rob sneaked past again.
Well, a nice bit of silverware to start the weekend. Hopefully there's some more to come. Well done. Well, Dan, Sonic Equipment Invitation Cup winner. Interesting race as well, because you had to fight from the back of the grid right into the midfield.
Yeah, it was pretty good actually. Good start, and I've had a bit of a rough start this morning with the car and reliability, so it was nice just to get the car a bit stable, and hopefully there's some better things to come.
There's some great battles through the race, and you obviously are having an awful lot of fun with this car.
Oh yeah, they're tremendous to drive. They're like big go-karts, so they're not on rails. They're something you really have to drive, and you can oversteer and understeer and do what you want with them. So yeah, they're great.
Expecting some more great battles tomorrow?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I'm hoping to get a bit faster tomorrow. I feel a bit rusty today, first one of the season. So yeah, hopefully I can take some time off and get a little bit further up.
Sounds good to me, but good win, well done, and see you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.